I try to always bring out stories from the Bible, characters from the Bible, and of course, verses from the Bible to see how I can teach you something on relationship and marriage. And so, this character study, or rather explanation, will be the person called Leah, who happens to be the first daughter of Laban, right? Well, I cannot tell if she's the first daughter, but we understand by Bible records that reference was made to two daughters. We had Laban, we had Leah, and we had Rachel, the daughters of Laban. And we understand that Laban happens to be the brother of Rebekah, who was the mother of Isaac. Okay, in case you did not remember the story very well, let's explain the story so you understand clearly how you can apply this to your romantic life, right? So we understand that Jacob was running away from his father Isaac. He was not necessarily from Isaac, but from Esau, because he had stolen Esau's birthright. He had stolen Esau's blessing. So he was running away. And while he was running away, he got to where he met this shepherdess. He met this lady. Her name was Rachel. She was beautiful. She was amazing. He fell in love with her. He noticed that she was his cousin. He got to his father's house to start working to start living with the father, to start living with the family. Now he's living with his uncle, Laban. Follow the story clearly from here, because this is where you will start seeing the romantic lessons that I want you to take. And this is specifically for those who are single right now, who are dating, who may be in a relationship. I'm doing this primarily for you. So please pay attention. Now, Jacob is working for Laban. In the course of his working and the rest, over the years, Laban can observe, he notices that he has been blessed because his nephew was with him, his nephew was working with him. Meanwhile, in all these years, we notice that Jacob still has an attraction for Rachel. Mind you, we are talking about several years BC. So it was not wrong for you to be attracted to your cousin, for you to be married to your cousin, or for you to be married to your half-sister. We see Abraham married to his half-sister. We see Tamar telling the brother, that is David's daughter, that, see, I know you're attracted to me right now. Tamar telling Ammon, I know you're attracted to me right now. I know you want me right now. But hey, why don't you tell our father? And he will give me to you as a wife. In those days and time, it was not out of place for half siblings to marry, or for cousins to marry, or cousins to marry, and all of that. So Laban comes, he asks Jacob, you are my nephew. I have noticed that God has blessed me because of you. I do not just want a situation whereby you just be working for me for free and the rest. You're a full grown man. You should be paid. A laborer deserves his wages. And so Laban asked Jacob, what would you want your pay to be? So it was a blank check, an open check, telling Jacob, you tell me what you want me to be paying you as your salary, and that is what I'm going to pay you. Guess what Jacob says? Jacob, who is a bad negotiator, right? I don't know whether it's hereditary, because first of all, we saw Esau negotiating badly. Right now, I'm seeing Jacob negotiating badly. Jacob comes up and says, okay, this was going to happen. I'll work for you for 7 years, and you will give me Rachel as a wife. Of course. Who wouldn't want that? If I notice that you are such a bad negotiator, I may even want to increase it. And Laban agrees. And guess what? On the 7th year of Jacob fulfilling that service, so it means that the service that Jacob rendered to Laban happens to be the bride price he paid. If you get it, right? So at the completion of that, what happens? What do we see? Is the fact that instead of Rachel to be given to Jacob, Leah was given to Jacob. You need to understand it. I'm a village boy. I grew up in the village, so I understand some cultural things clearly that could help. In those days, many times, wedding ceremonies will usually happen in the evening. So by the time the ceremony is over, it is usually in the night. And mind you, the ceremony is primarily between both parties. The bride is not a particular guest. The bride may only just come in one time. Okay. Well, I put to that. Let me correct that immediately, and we will continue the conversation. Yes. Thank you. So usually what will happen is that it is always at night the groom or the groom's family will live with the bride. So in reality, they can change the bride and you will not know. But then that was not it. In those days, we know that we have the bride price for virgins and the bride price for non-virgins. And we also understand something clearly, that to ascertain that a lady was actually a virgin, you need to have consummate the marriage, have the first sexual intercourse in her father's house, so that the father can actually have proof to show that I married off this daughter as a virgin. Let's not forget that Jacob even lived in this family. So that night, of course, they've had a lot of booze, a lot of wine, partying, marrying, and the rest. So Jacob is giving this particular woman, he has sex with this woman. He believes that the woman is Rachel that he has always loved and he has worked for 7 years. But the next morning at daylight, he observes that this woman is Leah. Let's look at it this way. Scripture says regarding Leah that she was not beautiful. Rachel was a beautiful one. Leah was not beautiful. Was it like she had the half-past eye or something about her eyes and the rest? She was not the beautiful one, right? Now, Jacob wakes up and discovers that this is who I was giving. This is the person that was given to me. But this is not a bargain. This was not what I asked for. So they tell him, don't be offended. You don't worry. We cannot marry off the younger sister while the older sister is still here. So I say, okay, what's going to happen? That is the younger sister I want. I'm willing to work for her another 7 years. Of course, Lebanon said that if you want her, you need to work for another 7 years. So 14 years, 2 wives. What a bright price. That's why I said he's a bad negotiator. But the good thing about it this time was, for the case of Leah, Jacob worked 7 years before getting the wife. But in the case of Rachel, Jacob got Rachel before working for the 7 years. The Bible says that after he had fulfilled the days of Leah. So Leah had 7 days honeymoon. Right after Leah's 7 days honeymoon, Jacob took Rachel as a wife on credit and paid instrumentally for the next 7 years. Right. So if you understand the Bible story and you're actually able to follow the Bible story. So Jacob marries Rachel. Rachel had no child for Jacob at first in the early part of the marriage. So we see Leah try to do everything to win Jacob's heart. So she gives birth to his son, thinking that her husband will love her. If you see the names of the son that she gave to the sons, especially the first 3 sons. But Jacob still doesn't love her. She gives birth to another son. Jacob still doesn't love her. She gives birth to a 3rd son, and she has to hand over her case to God, right? Because despite having sons for Jacob, despite being an amazing wife to Jacob, Jacob still did not love her. We see the case again in Elkanah, Anna, and Peninnah, right? Anna had no children. Peninnah was the one that had all the children and all the sons. And while Anna was feeling bad, her husband, their husband, Elkanah says something that, are you not worth more than 10 sons to me? You are worth more than 10 sons to me. You are more valuable than 10 sons to me. What he was saying was, what I thought he was saying was that, you are more valuable to me than all the sons that this other woman has born me. I know you're feeling like, oh, you're worthless, you are this and that because you have no son, but come on, you are more valuable and you are worth more than all these sons to be. In that age and time, that was a big thing. Today, your spouse is supposed to be more important to you than your children. But at that time, sons, and now Leah had sons for Jacob, but Jacob would still not send her. It was not fair. It was not fair. It was something painful. I want to realize the life of Leah. It must have been romantically terrible. She is the firstborn. And ordinarily, the firstborn is supposed to marry before the younger one. generally, a general principle kind of, especially when it comes to women at that time. But nobody was coming for her. We understand that she was not the pretty one. Jacob loved Rachel, started living with them. Nobody came for Leah, using Bible records. Jacob decides to work for 7 years for Rachel. In those 7 years of working for Rachel, nobody came for Leah. I don't think Leah was picky. I think nobody came for her because if somebody had come for her and the father wanted the person, Leah would have been married. Nobody came for her. So imagine you're living in the same house and you find another man in that house slaving himself for your father, just for your younger sister, and nobody's coming for you. And this guy is doing it for 7 years. By some sheer wind of luck and the rest, customs and traditions, you're not favored to get married to this guy. But still, the guy does not love you. He's offended. He did not say you did poorly during that first night, but he's offended that why should they give him you? Like, you're not good enough. So he decides to still work another 7 years for your younger sister. You have the sons, he still does not look at you. What could have been the romantic life of Leah like? How would she have felt? What was it that was happening in her mind? She must have been a depressed woman. She must have been a sorrowful woman. She must have felt very bad until, of course, she handed over her case to God, and where she would have gotten consolation and all of that. And it is one of our child that is Judah. And we know the scepter will never leave. And we know it was her children that had those blessings of the scepter, that had the blessings of the lion of the tribe of Judah, and all of that. But personally, she must have gone through a lot of mess. And there's a counsel I want to give to people who are single right there. I know you may not be so cute. Your friends, your sisters, maybe you want to get the type of guys that you want or the type of babes that you want. I know you may try to want to play a fast one and a sharp one like Laban did to see how you can get a man or corner a man or steal a man or whatever you want to call it. But please don't do it, because at the end of the day, you may not get the love, the respect, and the honor that you deserve. We've heard people who are using voodoo, people who are using juju, who are using charms and the rest to get men, and steal men from their siblings, from their friends, or just to get men. And at the end of the day, we see these cases backfiring, like again and again. It's always out there. Don't be like Leah. Don't try to force yourself on a man or force yourself on a woman and thinking that, oh, because we are not married, this person will not love you. Their hearts will never be with you. Of course, I get to see this in my counselor experience. I see this in my family law experience. Please don't be like Leah. I know it's hard and painful that nobody seems to be coming to you. The kind of people you like are not liking you, and that may be because of your look. You may think that, oh, I don't have, I'm not tall enough. I don't have a broad chest. I don't have big boobs. I don't have wide hips. I don't have a big bum bum, and all of those kind of things. But don't place yourself in a position like Leah found herself a day after her wedding. It is terrible and it is miserable. Please don't do that. My name is Earl and I'm all right. Thank you so much for following, right? And following this episode. Like it, share it with your friends, follow us, subscribe to us, and ensure that you're always here to enjoy one thing or the other from me. You're all.